You ever had that season in life where everything just feels off? You can't put your finger on it. Your job that used to light you up now feels flat. The friendships you've carried for years suddenly feel like they don't fit anymore. Even the routines you've always relied on, they don't bring the same comfort they used to. And you start thinking, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just be happy with what I have? But let me tell you something, that discomfort you feel is not a sign you're broken. It's a sign you're being stretched. It's the stirring that comes before the breakthrough. See, God doesn't let you get too comfortable when He's about to move you to another level. Comfort zones are prisons that look like safety. And if He didn't let the ground start shaking beneath your feet, you'd stay stuck in a chapter that was never meant to last. Think about it. Some of the biggest shifts in your life didn't come when you felt calm and cozy. They came when you were restless. They came when you had that gnawing feeling inside that said, there's more for me than this. And at first, you fight it. You try to quiet it down. You double down on what you already know. You cling to routines that feel safe. But eventually, that stirring grows louder. And here's the truth. It's not there to torment you. It's there to move you. Most people misread the restlessness. They think it means they're failing. They think it means they made a mistake. They say, if I were where I was supposed to be, I wouldn't feel this unsettled. No, the very opposite is true. That restlessness is a holy nudge. It's God's way of saying, get ready. Where you are can't contain where I'm taking you. Let me give you an image. Imagine a bird in a nest. The nest is comfortable. It's warm. It's safe. But there comes a point where the nest that once held you now holds you back. You grow, you expand, and suddenly the space that once felt like protection now feels like a cage. That discomfort is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the signal that it's time to spread your wings. And maybe that's where you are right now. Maybe that's why you feel so unsettled in places you used to love. Maybe that's why conversations with certain people suddenly leave you drained instead of energized. Maybe that's why every attempt to go back to the hold you leaves you frustrated, because you can't shrink back into who you used to be when God is pulling you into who you were always meant to be. Now, here's where it gets real. When that stirring comes, you'll be tempted to silence it. You'll say things like, I should just be grateful. I should just be content. And yes, gratitude matters, but there's a difference between gratitude and settling. Gratitude says, thank you, God, for this chapter. Settling says, I'll just stay here forever, even if it's crushing me. God never called you to settle. He called you to grow. And growth always comes with restlessness. So when you feel it, stop running from it. Stop numbing it. Stop trying to shove yourself back into a mold you've already outgrown. Start asking instead, what is this stirring trying to tell me? What is it preparing me for? Because the truth is, the bigger the restlessness, the bigger the breakthrough waiting on the other side. Now let's talk about the second sign, because this is the one that trips people up the most. Closed doors. Rejection. Opportunities that seemed perfect suddenly evaporate. Friendships you thought would last a lifetime fall apart. Jobs you thought you'd retire in suddenly disappear. And your first instinct is to say, God, why would you let this happen? Why take this from me? But what if that closed door is not a punishment? It's a reroute. What if that rejection is not abandonment? It's protection. See, we think closed doors mean failure. We think they mean we messed up. But the truth is, closed doors are often the loudest way God says, not this way. I have something better for you. You're crying over a door He had to slam shut because you would have walked through it and lost yourself on the other side. Let me ask you, how many times in your life have you looked back at something you wanted so badly only to realize later, thank God I didn't get that. That relationship you begged to work out. That job you thought was your dream. That plan you thought was perfect. Looking back, you can see it now. It would have broken you. It would have trapped you. It would have distracted you from what you were truly called to. And so God, in His mercy, let it fall apart. And let me tell you, sometimes the kindest thing God does for you is let something collapse. Because He knows if He doesn't, you'll cling to it forever. And here's the thing, when He closes a door, it's not just to protect you from what's behind it. It's to redirect you to the door you were meant for all along. But here's the catch. You won't see the new door right away. That's what makes closed doors so painful. There's a gap. There's a season where the old door is shut, but the new one hasn't opened yet. That's when the doubt creeps in. That's when you start to panic. But listen to me, that gap is not God forgetting you. It's Him testing your trust. It's Him saying, will you lean on me even when you can't see the path? Will you trust that this no is clearing space for a bigger yes? If you're staring at a closed door right now, I know it hurts. I know it feels unfair. I know it feels like the end. But I promise you, it's not the end. It's the middle. And one day, when the new door opens, you'll look back and say, now I get it. Now I see why that had to close. You know what throws us off the most when God is about to do something big? It's that He doesn't hand us the blueprint. He doesn't say, here's the 5-year plan. Here's every step. Here's when the breakthrough will come. No, He gives you breadcrumbs. Just enough light for the next step, just enough clarity to move forward, but never enough to see the whole picture. And that makes us uncomfortable because we want certainty, we want control, we want guarantees. But here's the reality, if you could see the entire plan, you wouldn't need faith. If you knew the exact timing, you'd stop trusting and start scheduling. And God's not interested in raising people who rely on calendars. He's interested in building people who rely on Him. Walking by faith and not by sight is one of the clearest signs something big is about to unfold. Because God tests you with uncertainty before He trusts you with abundance. He says, if you can trust me with the invisible, I can trust you with the visible. If you can walk when you don't see the whole road, then I know I can give you the destination. Think about it. When Abraham was called by God, he wasn't given a map. God didn't say, here's the GPS coordinates. He said, go to the land I will show you. Do you hear that? Not the land I've already explained to you. Not the land you've fully researched. The land I will show you. Meaning, you have to start walking before you start seeing. The clarity doesn't come first. The obedience does. And that's the tension you and I live in right now. You want the evidence before you take the step. God says, take the step, and then I'll give you the evidence. You say, show me, and I'll trust you. God says, trust me, and I'll show you. That's why faith feels risky. That's why it feels uncomfortable. But here's the truth. Faith isn't about being reckless. Faith is about being obedient even when your logic is screaming at you. Because logic will always say, stay where it's safe. Don't move until you know. Faith whispers, go anyway. The path will reveal itself as you move. Now, let me be clear. Walking by faith doesn't mean you'll never feel afraid. It means you move forward in spite of fear. It means you don't wait until you feel ready. You don't wait until every detail is lined up. You move because God said move. You act because your spirit knows what your eyes can't yet see. And isn't that exactly how breakthroughs happen? You look back later and realize, if I had waited until I felt certain, I'd still be standing at the starting line. Certainty is a trap. Waiting until you feel 100% ready is a trap. Because the truth is, you'll never feel completely ready for the big things God has for you. You grow into readiness along the way. Here's the part most people miss. Faith is the bridge between the promise and the fulfillment. Without faith, you don't cross over. You stay stuck on the shore, looking at the other side, dreaming about it, praying about it, but never stepping onto the bridge. And God is saying, I gave you the promise, but it's faith that's going to carry you there. I want you to picture this. You're standing in the dark with just a flashlight. You can't see the whole road. You can only see a few steps in front of you. Now, you could choose to freeze, to stand there waiting for the entire road to light up, but it won't. The only way to see more of the path is to take the step. And with every step, more light is revealed. That's faith. Maybe right now you're in that place. You don't know what the next 5 years hold. You don't even know what the next 5 months hold. And it's tempting to stall. It's tempting to say, I'll move when I know. But what if the knowing comes after the moving? What if the clarity you're begging for is on the other side of the step you're too afraid to take? Listen, faith is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting the one who does. Faith is not about you being certain, it's about you being surrendered. And when you walk by faith, you're not just proving your trust to God, you're positioning yourself to receive the very thing He's preparing for you. Because here's what I've seen time and time again, God rarely gives you the whole picture, but He always gives you enough courage for today, enough grace for this step, enough wisdom for this moment. And that's all you actually need. Here's something people don't always realize. The closer you get to your breakthrough, the heavier the resistance becomes. That pressure you feel right now, that wall you keep running into, that sudden storm that seems to come out of nowhere, it's not random, it's confirmation. Because let's be honest, nobody fights a battle over something that doesn't matter. Nobody wages war over empty ground. If you're under attack, it's because what you're carrying is valuable. It's because the breakthrough ahead of you is worth fighting for. Think about it. Have you noticed how right when you start making progress, life suddenly gets harder? You start working on your health, and suddenly old cravings hit harder. You start focusing on your spiritual growth, and out of nowhere, distractions and temptations multiply. You take steps toward your dream, and suddenly people you thought would support you start doubting you. That's not coincidence. That's resistance. And resistance is always strongest at the edge of breakthrough. That's why athletes talk about the wall in training. There comes a point in the run where your body screams at you to quit. Everything hurts. Your lungs are on fire. Your muscles are burning. That wall feels immovable. But if you push through it, on the other side is the runner's high, the breakthrough, the next level of strength you didn't know you had. Life works the same way. The wall you're facing right now is not proof you're failing, it's proof you're close. The enemy doesn't fight what isn't a threat. He only throws everything he can at you because he knows what's waiting on the other side. Let me press on this. The storm is not a sign of God's absence. It's often a sign of His presence. Remember the disciples in the boat. The storm hit so hard they thought they were going to die. And yet Jesus was right there with them. The storm wasn't proof He abandoned them. The storm was proof the enemy was trying to stop them from reaching the other side. Because on the other side, there was a breakthrough waiting, a miracle, a new chapter. So when you feel that resistance intensify, you've got two choices. You can let it convince you you're in the wrong place, or you can let it remind you you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Pressure always comes before promotion. The storm always comes before the calm. The fight always comes before the victory. Here's the trap most people fall into. They mistake resistance for a red light. They think opposition means I should stop. But often, opposition is not a red light. It's a green light with a test. It's the universe asking, how bad do you want this? Will you keep moving even when it gets hard? Will you trust even when it doesn't make sense? And here's what I want you to hear. The harder it feels right now, the closer you are. The darker the night, the nearer the morning. If everything seems to be piling against you, don't lose heart. It's often because the breakthrough is too close for the enemy to risk letting you reach it without a fight. Let me get practical. Maybe you're facing criticism from people who don't even know you. That's opposition. Maybe your mind is being flooded with doubt louder than it's ever been before. That's opposition. Maybe you're exhausted, worn down, tempted to throw in the towel. That's opposition. And the temptation is to interpret it as failure. But I need you to flip that perspective. Opposition is evidence you're carrying something bigger than yourself. Resistance is a signal. Pressure is proof. Opposition is confirmation. So instead of asking, why is this storm happening to me? Start asking, what is this storm protecting in me? What is this storm preparing me for? Because storms don't just attack, they strengthen. Pressure doesn't just weigh you down, it builds your capacity to carry more. Every ounce of resistance you're feeling right now is shaping you into the person who can hold the blessing that's coming. And don't forget this, every story of breakthrough in history has a chapter of opposition before it. David faced Goliath before the crown. Joseph faced the pit and the prison before the palace. Jesus faced the cross before the resurrection. So why would you think your story will be any different? Think about it like this: God never drops big blessings into small capacities. He doesn't hand you something you're not ready to carry. He expands your character first. He strengthens your foundation before he raises your platform. And so when you feel that sudden urge to prepare, to prune, to simplify, to get intentional, that's a sign the stage is being set. Look, nobody builds a skyscraper on shaky ground. Before a tall building goes up, they dig deep, they pour concrete, they reinforce steel, they spend more time preparing the foundation than they do decorating the top floor. Why? Because the height of the blessing always depends on the depth of the foundation. And your life works the exact same way. So when you suddenly feel the need to start taking care of yourself better, don't dismiss it. When you feel the urge to set boundaries with people who drain you, don't ignore it. When you feel a conviction to finally let go of toxic habits you've been holding on to, don't push it aside. That's not just self-improvement. That's God preparing you for something heavier, something bigger, something greater than what you're carrying now. Preparation always comes before promotion, and preparation doesn't always look glamorous. Sometimes it looks like saying no to old distractions. Sometimes it looks like early mornings, hard choices, quiet discipline. Sometimes it looks like seasons where nobody claps for you, nobody notices the changes, nobody celebrates the small wins. But that's because preparation is private. It's hidden. And that's exactly where God does his best work. Don't miss this. The pull toward preparation is often uncomfortable because it requires letting go. You can't step into the new season while clinging to the old one. You can't carry new blessings with hands that won't release old baggage. And so preparation feels like pruning. God starts cutting things away, and it hurts. But pruning isn't punishment. It's proof of growth. The only branches that get cut are the ones with potential to bear fruit. So maybe right now you feel like God is stripping things from you. Friendships fading, opportunities dissolving, habits being confronted. It feels like loss. But what if it's not loss? What if it's preparation? What if he's not taking things away from you? He's making room inside you, because you can't pour new wine into old wineskins. You can't live at the next level while holding on to last season's weight. And here's the beauty of preparation. It often starts with a whisper. You'll feel it before you see it. You'll wake up one day with the thought, I need to get ready. You won't know for what. You won't know when, you just know. And that's not paranoia. That's not you being restless. That's the Spirit nudging you. Get in position. Something's coming. Think about an athlete. They don't wait for the game to start training. They prepare months, even years, before the opportunity comes. They discipline themselves in private so they're ready in public. And when the game arrives, They don't rise to the occasion, they rise to the level of their preparation. That's you. God is calling you to prepare now so that when the opportunity comes, you're ready to carry it. Because let's be real, too many people pray for blessings they don't have the capacity to hold. They want the promotion without the discipline. They want the relationship without the maturity. They want the platform without the character. And when they get it too soon, it crushes them instead of elevates them. That's why you're being pulled toward preparation. Because God loves you too much to give you something big when you're too small to hold it. He grows you first. He strengthens you first. He shapes you first. And the preparation feels lonely. It feels hidden. It feels thankless, but it's essential. So if you feel that pull right now, lean into it. Don't fight it. Don't ignore it. Don't tell yourself, I'll get ready once I see the blessing coming. No. The preparation comes before the blessing. The cleaning comes before the filling. The pruning comes before the fruit. And here's the promise. You won't always understand the why behind the preparation, but you will always see the fruit later. One day, you'll stand in the middle of the very thing you prayed for, and you'll realize, this is why I had to prepare. This is why I had to grow. This is why I had to let go. Because blessings don't come to people who wait passively. They come to people who prepare actively. When you are on the edge of something big, one of the most unmistakable signs is peace in the middle of chaos. Think about that. Everything around you could be in disorder. Work feels uncertain. Finances are tight. People misunderstand you. Plans aren't lining up, but deep in your core, there is a calm. That calm doesn't come from the absence of problems. It comes from the presence of God. This is the kind of peace that doesn't make sense to the world. People look at you and say, how are you not falling apart? How are you not angry? How are you not panicking like everyone else? And your answer is simple, because you know who is in control. When God is about to give you something big, He equips you with a supernatural calm that anchors you when the storm tries to rip everything else away. Peace is not just a feeling, it's a weapon. Peace protects your mind from spiraling. Peace guards your words so you don't sabotage what's coming. Peace allows you to walk into rooms where others are shouting, panicking, or doubting, and instead of absorbing their chaos, you set the tone. You hold steady, you breathe differently, you think clearly. That peace is a clue that you are aligned with something greater than what you see. But here's the real key. Peace doesn't mean passivity. It doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. Peace means you move forward without fear. You can take the next step because you're not making decisions out of desperation or panic. You're making them out of confidence in the timing and promises of God. That's the kind of peace that builds unshakable momentum. And this peace often shows up right before the breakthrough. The storm gets louder, but your soul gets calmer. The pressure rises, but your heart stays steady. That's not an accident. That's preparation. That's God telling you, I've got this. Keep walking. Don't let their chaos become your chaos. So if you are feeling that strange calm in the middle of your storm, don't ignore it. That's your sign. That's your confirmation. The same way peace carried Jesus asleep in a boat while the storm raged outside, peace can carry you when everything looks uncertain. It means God is saying, hold on. You're close. Don't give up now. And here's how I want to close this for you. If you're seeing these signs, if you're being stretched, if you're walking by faith, if opposition is pressing harder, if preparation is pulling you forward, and now peace is guarding your heart, don't take them lightly. These aren't random. These are road markers. They are signals pointing to the reality that God is about to give you something big. So my final word for you is this: don't quit 5 minutes before your miracle. Don't let temporary storms distract you from eternal promises. Stand firm, stay faithful. Hold on to that peace, because when God is about to give you something big, He always lets you know. And if you're paying attention, you won't just survive the waiting, you'll thrive in it. And when it finally comes, you'll look back and say, every stretch, every trial, every quiet season, every storm, it was worth it because it brought me here. That's your sign. That's your reminder. And that's your calling to keep moving forward because your breakthrough isn't on the way. It's already at the door.